Hi, this is Omar Kusa, and this is my mini project Sudoku game. I write the project in three separate files: main, header, and source file or implementation of the code. And that's the triple manner. Let's go to the compiler so I can explain clearly. I included IO stream input output for standard functions, and here I included my header file. I used using namespace std so I can extract cin and cout functions easily. I made an integer called difficulty that can store the difficulty entered by the user, so it can provide you to play the game in various difficulties: row, column, and number that are entered from the user to fill the board or the Sudoku board. So, and chance integer that is set to 5, that gives you 5 chances. So if you miss 5 times, you will lose the game. Here I made an object for the Sudoku class in the header file. Here it is, Sudoku class. And then I used this object to take the functions from the header, from the source file, or here, sudoku.cpp. So first of all, I used the function input difficulty or input diff. Here it is. Let's go ahead to the private integers. This is the board, the main board, the main array we're gonna use 9 by 9, so it can implement the Sudoku game board. That is 9 by 9, 9 rows by 9 columns, and difficulty integer num and win. Okay, here let's start with the input difficulty, the first function. So I made an integer, a local integer called difficulty. I can store in it 1 for easy, 2 for medium, and 3 for hard. Right here, the cn, and then I will put it in the private integer difficulty so I can use it in other functions easily. So the second function I used is generate random board. So let's go here, generate random board, and then in the Sudoku file, in the sudoku.cpp here, or the source, I made 2 for loops inside each other from 0 to 8 actually, and here from 0 to 8, so I can use it with the rows and columns. Right here, I set the board to 0. All the components I set them to 0 here, and then I made a seed generated with the time or the clock of the computer. Every time it generates a new seed, and I made a for loop. Let's call it two-dimensional for loop that generates a random number from 1 to 9 and store it inside this integer rnum or random number. So if random difficulty plus 2, that determine the difficulty of the game. That means if the difficulty was hard or 3, it will be 5. So the chance 5 on 1 to be 0, or if we choose the difficulty 1, that will be 3. So there is a chance 1 on 3 to be 0. And in chance 1 on 3, it will generate a new number that will be valid. This is a function we will talk about now. So if it's valid and the chance sits to the right chance, it will generate this number and enter it inside the board. So what is this valid function? Here it is, the valid function. It's a Boolean function that will, here it is, that will return a Boolean statement uh, and can take three inputs, row, column, and number or int. So for loop, in a for loop from 0 to 9 to 8 actually, uh, if the row, okay, if the row from 0 to 8 equal n, that means the number we entered in the rules of Sudoku, there must not be a similar number in the row or a similar number in the column or a similar number in the box of the Sudoku board, and that will make the number valid. Okay, so if we have a number in the row similar to the number we choose, or if we have a number similar to the number we choose in the column, or the column and the row we choose is not zero, that means it's not an empty space. This will return false, and that means the row and the column we entered with the number is not valid. Is not valid. Okay, so if it passes this statement, it will go to the other statement, the box test, to test if it's valid or no. So in the box test, we made two integers, box row and column row. So we know that the boxes in the Sudoku are 3 by 3. So we want to determine where the row and column are, in which box they are. So here in this integer box row, we determine the first component of the row in the box we choose our row and column in. So row divided by 3, that will determine in which box in the rows we are dealing with. So we will divide it by 3. That means if we choose 2, it will be 0 multiplied 3. If we choose the 1, it will be 0 multiplied 3. If we choose 3, it will be 0 multiplied 3. That means it will always be 0. Here in the column, the same thing. If it's 4, let's say 4, 5, 6, this box we choose in the column, okay. So if it's 4, it will be 1 multiplied by 3, that's 3. If it's 5 divided by 3, it's 1 multiplied by 3, that's 3. Or 6, it will be also by 3. Uh, uh, I'm sorry, 3 and 4 and 5. They are all will be 3. That's the start of the box. So the start of the column start of the box. This is it will be like this. So a for loop from the start component of the row, that is, let's say it's 0, from 0 to the end of the box, that's 3, from 0 to 3, that's the space of the box, in rows, and then a for loop in columns. So we said it's 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's 3, the start of it. It will start from the 3, okay, and then it will end to 3 plus 3, that's 6. So we said 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it will end here. It's not actually 6, it actually will stop in 5. So 3, 4, 5, that's the column box. So if there is no similar number in this box, if there is, it will pass. But if there is a similar number to the number we chose in the box, it will return false. That means it's invalid. But if the number we choose in the row and the column, in the right row and column, passed the row and column test, and then it passed the box test, So it's in true place. It will return true. That means it's valid. So here, if the generated number is valid, it will just uh, put it right into the board. So let's go on. Here in this function, it will print the board. Let's see this function. Here it is. It's a void function. So first of all, it will erase the terminal or the console, and then two-dimensional loop. It will uh, print all the board components, and it will just separate them with lines and spaces so it can be easily dealt with, and the board will be user friendly. So um, then we enter a while loop, a big while loop that will ask you again and again. It will ask you choose a number from 1 to 9. It will enter this number inside this integer number, and then it will set number. So the number is gonna be transferred to a private integer here. Uh, Here set number. Okay. So this private integer will be equal to the number we choose. We set the number in a private integer already, and then if the number from 1 to 9, that's the that's the statement we told the user to put it in. From 1 to 9, it will enter a new loop. But if not, it will just end the loop, and it will try again, and it will try again. So you will still choose a number from 1 to 9 until you enter a right number that is from 1 and less than 9, bigger than 1, less than 9. It will enter this new loop. So this new loop will again and again ask you to enter a row and column for the number you choose. So I just choose the number, and then I will choose the row and column for this number. I will store them inside these integers, and then uh, I store them inside these integers. So we can't change the number unless we enter 0 for row and 0 for column. That's to change the chosen number. So if the row equals 0 and the and column equals 0, it will break this while loop, and then it will go again to this while loop, and you can choose a new number. So let's say we choose a right number, less than 9, bigger than 1, and we choose a real row and a real column, and that will get us into the else here. Okay, we enter the row and the column. Here we will subtract 1 from the row and 1 from the column, because the array starts from 0, not from 1. But this can help to be user friendly. We started from 1, but the array actually starts from 0. That will subtract 1 from it, and then we will ask if the number we entered here, okay, and the number we entered here, okay, and the row and the column we entered are valid in the valid functions that we checked right now. Let's check it again fast, very fast. Okay, here. So why did we enter here? Row, column, and a number. Okay. So it will check if they are valid. The number here is get number or get num. We just said that we set the number into a private number. So if we want to get it from the private number to the main function, we must just return it. So I returned it, and I put it inside the valid function. So if it is valid, it will set board to the row and the column we choose. Let's see this function. What does this function do? Set board. Okay, let's see the set board here. Okay, the set board for the row and the column we choose here, the row and the column, will be equal to the number we already determined and stored in. It will just set the board, set the number you entered to the row and column you entered, and it will print the updated board in this print board function. And then the program will tell you how many chances you have left to lose. If the chances are 0, that means you lost. It will break, and it will go right into here. After it breaks this while loop, it will go here and checks if the chance equals 0, and we already know if you lose, the chances will be 0. It will break and it will go here, the chances will be 0. So it will type you lost and then break the big while loop, and then it will end the program. But if you didn't lose, it will check if you win. If you win, it will break, and the win will get in the check win. It will make the get win equal 1, and it will say you win, and then it will end the program. But if it passes the lose, passes the win, it will go right again, and will tell you to enter a row and column. You are gonna still fill in row and column, row and column, row and column, and then you will need to change the number. You will enter 0 0. You will change the number you choose, and then again and again you will enter the row and column until the board is filled correctly. If the board is filled correctly, it will enter this function check win. Let's see this function check win. What does it do? Here, check win. So, for loop, two-dimensional for loop, if the board is not 0, that means not space, that means you filled all the components of the board, the check integer here, that is 0, will be plus plus, that will add 1. So if all the components that are 9 by 9, it means 81, if all of them checked 1, so you will win, and that will set by win plus plus. So where is the win? Here it is. The win is 0, but here if you win, the win will be equal to 1, and it will return true. That means you win. This boolean function will return a true statement, and else it will return a false statement. So let's say you win. You filled all the boards, and the check gave you 2081, and the win is determined to plus 1. That means it will be 1, and yes, it turns out to be true. So it will break the while loop, and it will go here. It will check if you lost, you didn't lose. It will go here and get win equals 1. So this is a private integer. We need to get it in the main function. So we enter it in this function get win. It will just return a win, this private integer win, and we will check if it's 1, and it is 1 just as we said. So it will print you win and will break the big for while loop, and you will win. It will end the program. But here, if you enter a non-valid row and column for the number you already determined, it will be false. So it will go to the else. It will be false. So it will go to the else. And then it will type invalid move, and your chances will be subtracted by 1. Your chances that are 5 will be subtracted by 1, and if you made 5 mistakes, that will set the chance to 0. When you made a mistake, okay, when you make a mistake, if your chance equal to 0, okay, I'm sorry, I need to put this here so it will be more accurate. Okay, if your chance equal to 0, it will break, and then it will go here and type you lost. Okay, let's try this code. Okay, here is the run code. Let's try the code. So run easy, medium. Okay, let's type medium. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. This compiler does not know what is TLC, but in code blocks it will clear the terminal, so you won't find this. Okay. Here is the automatically. Here is the randomly generated uh, board. See, the medium has less numbers and the easy has more numbers in here. Okay, choose a number. I will choose a wrong number. Let's say it's 11. You will again ask you to choose a number. So I will choose a right number. That will be 2. Okay. Now I will again and again enter row and column for the number 2 until I change it. So let's go to this column here, row 1, column 3. There is no 2 here, and there is no 2 here, and there is no 2 in the box. So let's say 1, 3. So we just get it right into here, and it's right. So I have 5 chances left. Let's make another 2. It will be 5 with 2, 5 with 2, an invalid move. Why? Because if I go here to the 5 and I go here to the 2, the second column, you will see the 2 here, and that is in the same row of the choose number. So it will tell you invalid move, and then it will tells you to enter a new row and column. So I will say this one. It has no twos in it, no twos in the box, and I will choose this one. So let's say 6 and 2. Yup, it entered the number here. So I have 4 chances left because I made an invalid move. So let me lose the game. Okay, I will choose the same number as this one. It's 3 by 3. Okay, 3 by 3. Invalid move. Okay, I want to change the number. That is 2. I want to set it to 6. I will try the 6 and I will put a 1 here to test the box valid function. So let's change the number 0, 0 to change the number. Choose a number, it's 6. And now we will enter this. The chosen number is now 6. So I will enter 1, 2, um, uh, uh, the second row and fourth column. 2, 4, invalid move. So the box validator is working. So I will make another mistake. Let's say 2, 4 another time, or I will choose now 1, 4, same place as the 6. Invalid move. Okay, let's choose this this place. Here it is. It's 8 by 8. 8 by 8. Okay, I made 5 mistakes and I lost. You lost. Thank you for listening, and this is my code for the exam term for the mini project, and for the editing I made here, I will change it in the Word file right now. I'm sorry for that. Okay, here it is. And I will just erase it from here. Okay, and I will end the video. Thank you for listening.